You're listening to the Grit to Growth podcast. Real talk with real business owners and professionals who built their freedom the hard way and now want more time, money, and impact.
Hello and welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, Levi Tesla, and today's guest is Dr. Rachel MK Headley, the CEO of Rose Group International. She's led major projects, united diverse stakeholders, and guided organizations through their biggest transitions. Rachel, thanks for joining me.
Hey, Levi, how are you?
Doing great.
Good.
So, Dr. Rachel, can you give us a quick snapshot of what the Rose Group International does and what your role in there is?
Yeah, you bet. Well, I'm a South Dakota kid. I grew up in Brookings County and went to school at SDSU, did the whole thing. And I never imagined I'd own my own company. Yeah, right. Ears up. Nice. All you coyotes can just suffer for a few minutes. So I never imagined I'd own my own company. I'm a geographer by training, so I love the science of storytelling and understanding how systems work, and there's just a lot of interesting things to do with geography as a scientist. So that really appealed to me. And then I had an opportunity I worked on the Landsat mission outside of Sioux Falls at Arrows, so for our East Coast or East River friends. And that was a beautiful and amazing opportunity. And I worked at Arrows on and off for almost 20 years, probably. But then I moved to the Black Hills and worked remotely for a while and decided this was like pre-COVID work remotely. So we didn't have the tools. It was super early in the telework kind of world, and I just didn't like it. I liked looking at people's eyeballs. I liked working with people. And so I decided I would try to create, I resigned from that role and decided I would try to create something in Spearfish that I felt like I'd be more connected to the community. I could be more involved locally. So I decided I'd be my own boss, and it's completely terrifying. And I was solo consultant for a while, and then after a few years of that, I met Meg McNeese, and she was working in HR up at the mine here, Core Wharf Gold Mine. But she's really got a entrepreneur spirit. She has a business degree, finance and business ethics, and has always imagined herself being an entrepreneur. So it was less of a step for her. And so I asked her if she'd be interested in starting another venture with me, and that was in 2016. And she said yes. So Rose Group is a management consultancy, and we have 7 employees all over the US, and we do mostly project management, change management, leadership development in quite a range of industries. And of course, there's not a huge demand for our work here in the state. And so we actually have contracts from Alaska to Florida. And so so we travel for work, which is, we get to live where other people vacation, and we get to travel for work. So it's a pretty awesome gig.
So walk me through, for those who aren't really familiar with consulting, when is it that someone would want to reach out to your group, and kind of walk through that process?
Yeah, so people reach out to us generally when they have a retreat they want to do and really dig into strategy or operational needs or improving process, where they really want to take a hard look at what they're doing outside of their normal operation. That's one way. Another way is they have a major project. I love personally leading teams through big transitions. So you get bought out, you decide on a big pivot, you get a funding round, and you go from, like in a startup, you go from 10 people to 150 in 9 months. Like
Huh.
that's beyond what most people can manage, especially as a startup founder. Every person you hire is the biggest company you've ever managed. So a lot of times to bring somebody in that's sort of been there, and we've seen it all, and we've worked with billion-dollar companies, and we've worked with, small nonprofits. So a lot of people that need a transition team. So like they say, okay, everyone's busy, everyone's maxed out, and we're going to take on this huge new thing. They hire us to come in as sort of a temporary team. We lead the project, we develop the requirements, we tend to be the project manager, or we're supporting an internal project manager, sort of guiding,
Okay.
making sure things are going, and then we're the conduit up to the executive team. Because usually we're hired by CFO, CEO, CTO. We've led a lot of technology integrations. So where technology improvements in a non-technology company. So, an electronic health records rollout in a hospital. Like these folks, most of them do not understand IT. They don't care about IT.
Yep.
But that very split, and then they really lean on the vendors to do a lot of the requirements work and the understanding of what they need. And that can really lead down the road to a lot of expense and complexity in the rollout and the operational handoff and the ongoing investments. And so we actually get hired typically by like the hospital to
Okay.
help represent them and work with the vendor, because they're just not, maybe they don't have the bandwidth, maybe they're not
Yeah.
technically available, maybe it's just a huge project that no one has time for. So that's we come in and kind of help you get through that big transition stuff.
That makes sense. So when are you seeing, are people approaching you a lot of times right before all that expansion is happening, or are you helping kind of before they're even beginning to think about that, start pushing them towards the bigger picture expansion?
Well,
Or a
we're
mix of both?
really, yeah, well, that's the tricky part, is that if you've been through a big transition and it's been a mess, then you tend to hire us early.
Okay, that makes
Right, because
sense.
you're like, listen, we survived this and it was ugly and extra time and overwhelming and all of that. We want to get out in front of it. And so we're going to bring in somebody early to help us prep, make sure the requirements are well developed. Before we even hire a vendor, sometimes we help create the RFP to hire the vendor for an IT upgrade or a new tool. And other times we're brought in because it is just a hot mess everywhere, and they just can't get their hands around it. Because what happened, one example in our space is not our client, but a fellow consultant's client. Basically, they were going through a huge ERP rollout, enterprise resource software, like that tends to be like finance, payroll, project management, like all the back end stuff is all in, and it's all operational, it's all 24/7. And they were going through this huge ERP transition, and the head of IT quit because it was hot mess. It was a hot mess. So,
And not his problem to solve, right?
well, once
So
he
he
leaves,
could.
it's not.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's what I mean is he can
yeah.
wipe his hands clean,
And
not
then
the
he
owner.
and then he left everybody else to figure it out or
Yep.
clean up the mess. And so, and that's when the consultant team was called in to help. Like, okay, where are we at? What's going on? And it's really not about like who's doing it wrong or whatever. I mean, if you're a really good consultant, what you're trying to do is just come in. There's no blaming. There's no finger pointing. There's just like, where are we at? And what do we need to get done? And so,
Solutions.
yeah, so there's a lot of gap analysis about, listen, where do you guys want to be? Where are you at now? And then we help roadmap how you get there. And that's probably the most generic sort of description of what we do, is that we actually help, because a lot of people want to do the next big thing, but they just don't, not sure like how to get from where we are to that thing. And so we come in and workshop things and really work together on helping them figure out what's the right path for them. Because we don't sell like one size fits all. There's best practices, of course, but if you're, a billion-dollar IT, an IT firm and a billion-dollar company versus a startup, I'm not going to come give you the same package, right? I'm going to say, where are you at and what's the next thing for you? So everything's very bespoke.
So this is might be hard to answer along those lines. When you're traveling to go help out these kind of clients, what's the typical amount of time that you're spending there before you kind of release them back, right?
Release them back into the wilds.
Yeah.
It really depends. So I would say for a really big transition where we have executive buy-in and they like executives are like, listen, I committed to the board this is going to happen this year, so we got to get this done. And then they're verbally and in all ways supporting the mission and supporting the project. It's 6 to 9 months. So what we do is we kind of drop in the beginning, spend a week or two there, have all the meetings, get to know everybody, start creating that trust bridge, and then we typically work remotely. So because a lot of people are still like remote or
Yep.
on Teams, and so us being there in person and them paying for us to be there in person doesn't make a lot of sense. So yeah, we like to be there in person on some routine cadence. Like we've got a client I'm in Alaska. We've been there for a couple of years, and I like to have somebody up there every 6 weeks or thereabouts because I want them to like create relationships and keep building that trust with the people on the ground. But yeah, we don't actually go and park anyone anywhere for very long. It's really just
Okay.
quick trips and getting to know people and establishing that rapport.
That makes sense. And like you said, in today's day and age, it's not as necessary. It's still a good thing, like you were touching on there, to do it, but not as completely necessary as it once was.
Yeah, and I'm still a fan, to be fair to everyone who loves to work in the office. Like, I am a huge fan of in-person work when
Yep.
it makes sense to. But I do really appreciate flexibility of remote work. So I think there is like this happy place that people are going to settle into
I
that's
think so
not
too.
100% solution on either side of it, I would guess. But
I was gonna pull it back a little. So you were born and raised on the east side of in South Dakota, and now you're living on the west side. I spent a year out in Rapid City at School of Mines, but spent all my life on the east side. I never realized how big the East River, West River thing was. Did you kind of find that out too during your move?
well, the funny thing is that, the Black Hills was always a place where we would come as kids to like go on big vacations and stuff. Cause I
Yep.
was from like farm family, three brothers and sisters. Like there was no money. Like we didn't go stay in hotels or whatever. Like I didn't step my foot on a plane till I was much older. And
Yep.
so it was like the big road trip place, right? So it was like this magical place where you'd go and hang out with your family. And it's beautiful. I love it. But I do love the prairie. I'm a prairie girl for sure. And I do appreciate the weather in the Black Hills, I would say.
Yeah.
But it's very like Spearfish is kind of a cool place to live because there is, I mean, most of West River is legit ranch country, high plains, very sparsely
Mhm.
populated, but the people are amazing, really warm, kind people, and I've loved getting to know West River people. But we kind of touch on all the tourism and but not too much, and so we're kind of in
Yep.
a great spot where we can like enjoy the benefits of tourism, but we're not in like the middle of the 14 million people a year. And
Yep.
so it's kind of a magic spot. And I don't miss East River. I don't miss the humidity, and but I do have a lot of good friends and family members still East River, so we get back there a lot.
Well, good.
Yeah.
All right, kind of back to more what you're doing. So you've kind of gone through a variety of things. Would you mind touching on what one of the biggest challenges you've had to overcome in your career was?
I think as a founder of a company is just the overall financial overwhelm of trying to make it all work and
Hmm.
just sort of sticking it out and believing that it's going to work out in the end. And man, it's just really overwhelming. The financial stuff for me can be overwhelming because, like I said, I wasn't really cut out to be an entrepreneur. Like I have a lot of I have a lot of risk. I'm hyper aware of all the risk. I have
Yep.
to tell
Yep.
my brain to shut the hell up sometimes because it worries so much about stuff all the time.
Yep.
So I think honestly, my biggest challenge is that it's really making sure that you can survive the hard times, because I think a big part of it is being smart about money and being patient about money and getting money where you need it. I mean, sometimes you have to go into debt for the investment of the company, and that's hard the first time you got to do that because you don't know if you can get it paid back or how that's going to get paid. Like, it is just that whole side of owning a company is, and also as we get bigger and we are getting bigger contracts and more employees, and you have all this commitment to the staff that you're hiring and their families. It's just like, man, it can be overwhelming because you can't really share that with the staff. So the thing that's probably saved me is having a business partner. And I know for some people that is like the reason their companies fail, because they cannot like get the thing.
Work with someone else.
Totally. Or else you just have different ways of spending money or all that stuff. And man, Meg and I we don't agree all the time, but because how we get places can be very different, but we're very much aligned on where we want to get to. So there's a lot of good debate, a lot of good accountability when there needs to be, a lot of good, like, listen, you're being ridiculous. Like, we have a lot of love and trust, and that has probably saved me over the years.
It checks and balances, and like you said, it could go kind of one of two ways. It could be what ends it or what sends you into the next level. It sounds like it's sending you guys to the next level.
It really helps because you celebrate wins together, and because you can't celebrate wins with staff in the same way you can with another owner.
Yeah.
And it also helps to like talk through the hard times and survive the hard times, and like a good cocktail helps too. But yeah,
that is usually my answer right there too.
You got to manage that, but it can't hurt sometimes. It can really help out a lot.
Well, on the next 6 to 12 months, is there anything as a company or you personally that you guys are really looking forward to?
Oh man, we have been working for about 2 years to position ourselves to really grow. And so in the world of us, like, there's a couple ways to really grow a company for consultancies. One is business, like straight corporate clients. And then the other side is contracting with state and local government. And then like the big stuff is federal contracting. And so we have been working on getting our what in our business is called past performance. So your next win is almost entirely dependent on what you've done in the past. And so it's a little bit like, I guess, 5-star reviews on steroids, right? Because you don't, we're at the top of the pyramid in the sense of like, we have a few clients that are pretty high dollar. We're not like at the bottom of the pyramid where we're not the M&M's model where you have to sell 1 million at $1 a piece. Like, we're looking at really like very handful of very good clients. And so we don't have thousands of clients or in that way. So then we really have to focus on past performance. And we also don't want to get in the trap of like the ebb and flow of business, right? So you don't want to get into a thing where 80% of your revenue comes from one client, and then that client sunsets and all of a sudden you're out of money and you can't get it anywhere else. That happens
Hard to pick it back up the next. Yeah. So
that happens to a lot of consultancies. So our goal has been to get multi-year contracts that take out some of that ebb and flow of economy and, and elections, economic health, forecasts, interest rates, all of those things have a big impact on consulting, because a lot of times we're considered a luxury good. Because a lot of people will say when money gets tight and the economy is kind of tightening, people will say, well, if we keep it ourselves, it'll stink, but at least, but we'll get through it somehow. And when people are really proactive and can really like feel expansive, then they're like, let's just bring somebody in and they'll take care of it. We'll do this other stuff. So we really feel that ebb and flow of the economy. So and the time of year and all of that. So we've really focused on getting a ton of multi-year contracts, whether that's with private industry or state and local government. We've won a GSA award. So what that means is General Services Administration is the one that does a lot of professional development or professional services work in the federal government. So
Okay.
like I just was looking at a Coast Guard contract, and then I was looking at a Health and Human Services contract for training, and I was looking at something else for auditing and project management. And so pretty much every department in the federal government that needs help goes through GSA. And
Okay.
so we got what's called the GSA award, which means that we have gotten approval to work in that environment. And that takes a really long time. You have to have a good record. You have to, all of your rates have to be pre-approved. You have to meet all these criteria, and you have to have financial stability, and it's a whole thing. And
Do they only allow a certain amount of people into that too then?
I don't
Or
think
is
there's a
that
cap.
not limited? Okay.
I don't think there's a cap, but there's a lot of people in there that don't ever win anything.
Yep.
So it's not a guarantee of contract, but you have to, it's like a ticket in the door. So
Okay.
if you can't get in the door, you can't play the game.
Correct.
So we got our ticket, and that the value of that award, even though there's no dollars associated with it, they estimate that there's $15 million of potential revenue for our company.
It's very exciting.
Yeah, it's amazing. So we've got that figured out. We just won a contract with the state of Florida, which us and 100 of our closest consulting friends won it, but it's a pool. And those 100 or 150 companies deliver $90 million of services to the state of Florida every year.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so if you start doing even if we all equally won something, it's like starts to really add up.
Absolutely, it does.
Yeah, so that's the really exciting stuff for us. We really have been working very hard to build that capacity in our team, and we've staffed up. We've got some really incredible. All my staff right now are just amazing. We've got some retired Air Force Master Chiefs, and some of them are health administration. Some of them are operators. Some of them are like pararescue, emergency response. I've got college, higher ed experts on the team. So we really can plug into a lot of wide variety of industries and support a lot of different state agencies and federal agencies now. So yeah.
Are they coming from all over the country then too?
Yeah, I've got one guy in Idaho. We've got 3 of us are in South Dakota. We're all South Dakota kids.
Okay.
Farm and ranch families. And then we've got a guy in Kansas, a guy in DC, and a gal who just moved to Texas. I think that's everyone. I think that's everyone. So yeah, but the great thing is that we're all travel. Like I had my guy from Idaho and my guy from Oklahoma. They both flew to Florida to deliver for a client. So we connect and we come together all for different ways, depending on everyone's availability and capability. And so it's really a dynamic and exciting environment. And when you're winning, it's like nothing better. There's nothing better.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
All right. Before we get wrapping things up, I got a section I like to do of some rapid fire questions.
Ooh.
Ready? Here
Lay it
comes
on
the
me.
first one. What is a dream city or country that you'd like to live in for a year?
I've traveled to 60 countries, and the one that I would want to live in is Spain.
Where you got a specific spot in Spain?
No, there's just something about Spain. I mean, I could live in any of the places I visited, but Spain is like, it's got an energy to it, and yeah, I don't know. It just feels really good. There's a pace to it. It's beautiful. Lots of different climates. If you want to go to the beach, if you want to go to the mountains, everything's beautiful. The people are kind and nice. And yeah, I just love it. I just love it. Wine's cheap. I mean, wine's cheap in Europe generally, but wine's good and cheap. That doesn't hurt.
That's a good reason right there.
Yeah, right.
How about a productivity habit that has always worked for you?
Oh man, that's such a trap question because I am what we call in my company very chaos tolerant. So like I am happiest when I got like 1,000 things firing at once and it's all crazy. And so But getting things done, honestly, is going to the office. Like for me to like really dig in, get things
Focusing.
done, focus up. Like I can work anywhere, but my best workspace is sitting at my desk. And if I can sit here and I can just zone out and get things done, like go, go, go. If I try to do too much, like work at the coffee shop or work at home or work on travel, like I am not nearly as productive as if I just can like sit here and with the setup that I like and just go. So that's probably the best thing.
What's your favorite way to spend a Sunday afternoon?
Oh, that's such a hard question because my husband and I own at least three other companies. And so there's always Sunday afternoon for me is like fun
It's
project
still a,
time. Yeah.
yep.
But it's not work. Like we're very incredibly busy. Like, like, everyone says that, but legit, like we have a resort north of Spearfish called Shortgrass Resort, and it's a luxury accommodation, all inclusive. We have a beautiful chef and amazing cocktail bar, and we're just getting some other amenities in place. And so that's always hot in the summer and like busy, busy. So I'm probably at Shortgrass. My husband and my daughter have their own TV show called Building Outside the Lines. Airs on Max, streams on Max and Discovery, and it's on Prime too, and 1,000 other places if you Google it.
Yeah. It's always
But
hard to keep track of where it all is,
yeah, I
isn't
mean,
it?
just Google it, right? It's
Yep.
easy. That's how you find it. But I also do this. My daughter does the design work, and then I'm like her foreman. So I'm the one that makes sure all the layouts right and the furniture's right, and we coordinate all that, and we stage for reveal. And so I do a lot of that on the weekend in the summer.
Hmm.
In the winter, I might like get a chance to read a book or something, but I
I
mean,
would,
mostly not.
it sounds like for you sitting and relaxing isn't the way to go. You like to be on the move, keep the mind occupied, right?
Yeah, and I honestly, if we take time away from our businesses, we like to travel. So my dream, like I don't like to take my downtime in chunks of like Sunday afternoons. Like I like taking my downtime in big chunks. So
Hmm.
like our next big trip, we're talking about going somewhere this winter. Probably we went to Antarctica last year, which was awesome, and did some paddle boarding and looked at whales and stuff. But this year we're talking about Turkey or South Africa or someplace. But my big next trip is Australia. It's our last continent, and so we're gonna spend probably 2 months in 27 just renting a combi and doing some touring, and it's gonna be great.
Excited for the flight there. That's what I always hear from everyone is about the flight. That's what usually keeps them is the flight.
Yeah, well, I tell you, well, I mean, that's part of the reason you spend so much time there when you get there.
Yep.
And for me, it's like there are things worth paying for, and Delta First is one of those things worth paying for. So I 100% like give me that lay down seat, and you don't even notice that 21-hour flight or whatever the heck it is. Like yeah, it's the way to travel now is so incredible, and yeah, it's you got to save up for it because it's not a casual spend. But if you can get somewhere, especially a place internationally, and you're not exhausted, and your body's not like freaking out for 3 days trying to just
Yep.
recover from the big flight, it makes a big difference. So this is all part of my journey, Levi, about spending money on things that are important to me, which is as a South Dakota farm kid, like buying
It's
first
tough.
class tickets is like, I still have a little bit of guilt in there about it, but you got to decide what's important. Some people buy motorcycles and it's just bike week around here. So,
Yeah.
some people buy motorcycles and some people spend their money other ways. And we're travelers. So that's kind of what we've decided. But yeah, so
Very
Sunday
good.
afternoon, I'm probably working, no doubt.
Well, that's how you're able to actually take that nice flight over there by
That's right.
working on them Sundays.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. I mean, not every year. I mean, some years are building years, and those are a
Yep.
lot leaner. And that's it's kind of part of the growth, I think, as you evolve through a career. And it's like starting companies land is that you own your own destiny, and sometimes that means you're broke, even after you've been working really hard for a while, because you choose to level up, you choose to start something new, you choose to build a building or buy something that's an investment. And so that is like the reality of it. And I'm just really excited to have that be easy one of these days real soon. So
It's the grit side of the growth journey, and you'll get it. Yeah.
that's right. There's a lot of grit. I do love the podcast name because grit is, I think, is underestimated. And I think grit can be quiet. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
100%.
I think there's a lot of kind of chest thumping, like, get out of your comfort zone and, all that sort of kind of bro stuff sometimes in this space.
Yep.
But I think grit generally, no matter where you come from or kind of where you're at, is that it's very quiet. And the grit happens at 2 a.m. in the morning when you can panic a little, but then you're able to like know that it's going to be good. And you depend on, like, I have a great team, and everywhere we work, we have a great team. I can count on them to do things well. And that's when the grit shows up, is in the quiet moments. It's never really in public or really on display in the way that I think most people think about it. I just think it's very quiet most of the time. And it's in the survival that is where you see it.
I think that's a great way to wrap this up in a message that people should really take from it, is that right there.
Mm-hmm.
So, Dr. Rachel, thank you for your time today. If people want to get a hold of you, learn more about what you're doing or what your team's doing, where would you send them to?
Well, we've got our website, which has all the things on it, rosegroupintl.com. Me personally, I'm active on most platforms, social platforms. So just look for me. There's a lot of Dr. Rachel Headleys out there. So I usually have my initials. So Dr. Rachel MK Headley on Instagram or Facebook. I'm around. I'd stay off of X because that just seems kind of crazy right now.
Yep.
But yeah, you can find us, and like I said, Google us. We're doing a lot of fun stuff. I'm off doing, Meg's off doing a keynote in Seattle next week, and I just got back from a client trip. So we're all over. I mean, let us know where you're at, and we're happy to just grab a glass of wine or a cup of coffee, and yeah, we'd love to connect.
Perfect. Well, thank you for your time again, Dr. Rachel, and thanks for everyone for listening. We'll see you on the next one.
Awesome. Thanks, Levi.
Know someone with serious grit and a great growth story? Send them our way at grittogrowthpodcast.com/guest.